I frequently get asked the question, what do you fish for when there's no television camera in the boat? The answer, I go crappie fishing. It's my favorite thing to do, and on this week's show, I get to go crappie fishing with the television camera at one of the most scenic places to do it in America. Glad you're along with us. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It is a beautiful morning in the Ouachita Mountains of southern Arkansas. Hi everybody, welcome into the show. We're coming to you today from one of the most scenic and pristine reservoirs anywhere in the state of Arkansas. Right behind me is Self Creek Lodge and Marina on beautiful Lake Greeson. Lake Greeson is located about 6 miles north of Murfreesboro, Arkansas. We are here today for the famous crappie fishing. And we're going to be fishing with some great guys, Dustin Holmes and Vance and their crew at Action Fishing Trips, and they put out a bunch of brush piles on Lake Greeson. They're going to share a few of those locations with us, and we hope to show you some of the great crappie fishing to be had here at Lake Greeson. While we're doing that, we're taking you around the region for your latest fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters. As you can see, we've got the Tracker Pro Team 195 fully rigged fishing boat already launched here at Self Creek Marina. We're about to head out on the lake. Let's get you started right now back at the FSN studios for your weekend plan.
According to the Salooner tables, this weekend should be a fantastic time for some fishing. Saturday is expected to have excellent game fish activity, while Sunday's action is listed as good. Peak times should take place in both the early mornings and afternoons. Look for the sun to rise at 7:36 and set at 6:47. And we have a new moon this week, so night skies over the weekend will be mostly void of moonlight. Hang with us for freshwater and saltwater information from around the region. Plus, 2015 Bassmaster Classic champion Casey Ashley joins me for this week's Ask the Pro with some advice on fishing in the wind. We're coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Motor Guide, because accuracy matters. Lowrance Electronics, celebrating 60 years of fish finding excellence. Find, navigate, dominate. And Excite Technologies, powering the world forward.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's a giant crappie. I'm using light tackle, light ultralight spinning gear with 6-pound test fluorocarbon monofilament line. This water's pretty clear in this lake. He's got it. Got him. Got him. I got one. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's a giant crappie. Oh, it's a giant one. Got him. Look at that. Man. The first crappie of the day is a giant. Look at the size of this Greeson Lake crappie. And I want to show you a little secret. I had to downsize. I used a little itty bit Bobby Garland bait because these fish were real finicky and I wasn't getting bit. And look at the size of that fat daddy, will you? How's that for a first Greeson Lake crappie? Big old giant one. Man, well, we're gonna put some fish in the live well today, so in he goes. All right, Lake Greeson is a wide open lake and it's devoid of very much cover at all. So what they've done, Dustin and his crew have sunk all these brush piles, over 1,000 of them, and it just attracts every crappie in the area to the only cover in the place, and that's these brush piles. They're in these buckets, got a lot of brush sticking out. Some of them are just big old piles of brush that they weighted down and put on the bottom. We're off to a great start here at Lake Greeson. Let's get you off to a start with some fishing and lake reports from where you live.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Sports Southwest Louisiana Fishing Report. I tell you what, fishing is so good right now across the state, you need to just come on down here because I don't care whether you want to go to Houma, Louisiana. I talk to Bill Lake each and every day just about. Bill's catching his limit of trout and a bunch of redfish every day. Towfield Bourgeois, down around Lafitte, Louisiana. They're doing mostly live bait right now, but you could catch quite a few on artificials also. 2 to 3 weeks to get a couple of cold fronts, flounder bite's going to be on. Keep in mind, in Louisiana, it's 10 per person. You get to keep a guy's limit. You come 3 people in a guy, that's 40 flounder. That's enough to last you all year. Right now, I would also say if you want to bass fish, the best place to go is the Sabine River. There's little tournaments there each and every week in the afternoon. Almost everybody's catching their limit, and they're catching them on just about any bait. Spinner bait, crankbaits, plastic, it's all working. They're fishing the trees, in other words, what they call wood. Anytime you see structure right off the bank, wood, leaning trees, whatever you see, throw anything around that, them bass are holding there. And they congregate, you're gonna catch a bunch, 6, 8, 10 sometime in a row. Bass fishing is really good. Give you an idea. We got some guides right now here at the Cajun Paradise Lodges Charters that's catching a limit of bass, a limit of reds, a nice mess of speckled trout, and a flounder or 2 every day. All I can say is come on down and get you some.
Once I get the bait above the brush, I'm just dropping that rod tip and hopping it right back to the same spot. A lot of times that's what gets a strike. There's one that got it under the boat. Got him. Come up here. It's a good pull. He's not a big one. Just a good solid keeper. Right there. That's the average kind you catch here at Lake Greeson right there. Just a good, fat, healthy, solid 11 and a half inch keeper, something like that. By the way, if you're coming here, here's the limit. You can keep 30 crappie per person per day, and there's no minimum length limit. So you can catch them whatever size you catch, he's a keeper. So you can cull through some of the little ones if you want and try to catch some, but that's just a good average size fish right there. A couple of the, one like you saw me catch a little earlier, that's a big one for here, 15, 16 inches, somewhere in that range is a real whopper here, but that's about 11 and a half or so, just a good solid keeper. Stay with me. Oh, he came off, and he came off in the net. Oh man, it's my day. Well, these fish seem to have pulled off my brush pile. I've stopped getting bit, stopped catching fish right up in the thick brush. I think I've maybe spooked them a little bit. So I've started casting around the edge, and I'll explain that to you in a second. There's bite. Got him. All right. That's a good crappie right there. That's a big one. Oh man, look at that big dude. Man, we are catching some toads today. Look at that dude. Golly, look in his mouth. That is my little tiny Bobby Garland itty bit baby shad swimmer is what that is. Tiny little crappie bait right there, and a giant crappie. Look at that big dude. All right. Didn't know I'd do that today. He's gonna go in the live well quickly. Getting a pretty good collection in there. So a lot of times what will happen is you'll get up over the top of the brush and you'll catch some, but you'll actually spook the brush pile. All that commotion, all that noise will pull the fish off the brush, but they don't go far. All they'll do is begin to mill around and suspend out around the edges. So in that case, if you get up on top and you stop catching them all of a sudden, you can start actually making a cast with a little light jig. Make some short cast about 15, 20 feet out, let it go down about halfway, and then take your rod tip, gently lift it, and just swim that bait back in. Turn the reel handle, let it swing back toward the boat, gently lift that rod, and you're just swimming it, not on bottom, just about halfway down, and many times you will catch those spooked, suspended crappie that move just out away from the brush pile. You'll catch those, and you'll keep on catching them. Time for more Fishing and Lake reports from where you live.
If you caught the recent episode that Andrew Upshaw hosted, you'll remember that he was striper fishing on Lake Keystone just outside of Tulsa here in northeastern Oklahoma. And that shows you how good the striper fishing is on that lake. Well, we have a number of bodies of water in the state that are good for stripers and striped bass hybrids. And while rains have raised the elevation in Keystone in the last week and a half or so, and now it's starting to fall pretty fast, it's muddied it up some. The striper fishing has slowed there, but it won't be long until it gets back to being really good, and then that will last for several weeks all up through the fall. But don't forget to check out Texoma too. I've been telling you for a while now that that lake has been really good for stripers on top and also around the main lake points and flats, throwing a variety of baits. A couple of other lakes to check out for those species. Go to Foss Lake near Clinton, Oklahoma, and look for hybrids there. A great bait option for that is take the LaRue 3.5-inch sweet swimmer, put it on a jig head like a 1/4 ounce, and toss it and fish it quickly around the shallows right now on Foss. You might start down near the dam, work away from it, fishing the shallows on both sides of the lake, fish that bait fast. You're gonna catch some quality hybrids and also pick up some nice saugeye doing that on Foss Lake. And of course, Sooner Lake is always good for stripers and hybrids. Both those species are cooperating there right now. Want to check out Sooner Lake? That LaRue Sweet Swimmer is a great option for that as well. Stripers and hybrids, you can catch them in many places in Oklahoma, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
Got him. All right, I got another one. Come up here, Daddy. Oh, big one. Big one. That's a big giant one. Come in here. Oh, he came off, and he came off in the net. Oh man, it's my day. Look at that. The jig's loose. He came off just as I was reaching, and I just nabbed him in the net. And I want you to look at what I have just done. Oh man. How about that? These are pigs now. Big, giant crappie. I did not expect to do this here at Lake Greeson. I knew the numbers were big, but I had no idea that the size. You don't do this every day, according to Dustin Holmes. There's a few of these in here, but they're not real plentiful. How about that? Man, we've done it. We have caught some great big ones today. We've had a great day. Let me mention a couple of things. If you want to stay here, you want to stay at Self Creek Marina and Lodge. They've got a floating boat dock with gas and ice and snacks, everything you need for your vacation. They've got fantastic rooms. We're staying in a 2-bedroom cottage overlooking the lake. It's got a hot tub on the back deck, fully equipped kitchen, nice living area, satellite TV, really all the niceties of home. And if you want to book a guide trip, Dustin Holmes at Action Fishing Trips, he and his partners will put you on fish. You can book a corporate trip, bring the whole family. They very frequently catch 50 to 100 or even more fish in a day. They fillet them for you, and you can take all those fish home for a great fish fry when you get home. We're coming back to a beautiful crappie hotspot right after this.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than a boat, it's a tracker. Mercury Marine, go boldly. And Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there.
How about that? God. Wow. I can feel that brush with my jig right now. Hey, welcome back everybody. We're at Lake Greeson, Arkansas. Rather than hanging and snagging it though, by pulling back on it, I just let it sit there and I shake that rod tip real gently. And a lot of times it'll shake loose and I hold that jig right by that brush, and a lot of times one will thump it right there. Got it. Man, that's cool. Right in the top of that brush. Ooh, that's gonna be another big one. Feels big anyway. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that giant. Got him. Man. Caught a pig. Look at that toad. How about that? Golly. Wow. Look at that little old bitty jig stuck right in the corner of his mouth. What a toad. This has been one incredible deal so far. Another giant. All giants. Just catching giants. These fish are pushing 2-pound, legitimate 2-pound crappie right here. Just absolute monsters. Back in the live well he goes. Okay, next up, I promised that I would explain some to you about my science of marker buoy positioning. There's definitely something to this. First of all, I'll use 2 buoys. When I'm idling around locating the brush, I'll use my first buoy to give me a general point of reference as to where that brush pile is. That's the marker you see further over to the right there. That's the first buoy I threw out. Then I will get on my trolling motor, I'll zigzag around, I'll put my second buoy very slightly on the upwind side of the brush pile. There's a reason for that. Now what I'll do is come into the wind with my trolling motor, and I'll stop just downwind from the marker buoy, and I'll hit my anchor button on my Motor Guide XI5. It'll lock me in position with GPS right here on this spot, and I'll stay right over the top of the brush. You do not want your marker buoy right on top of the brush, because then you'll pull up to it with your trolling motor. Eventually, you're going to get that line around a prop shaft on either your trolling motor or your outboard motor. Let's get fishing and lake reports from your local area from an insider reporter near you.
Hi folks, this week on Lone Star Lakes, we're going to visit 2 lakes, Lakes Bob Sandlin and Richland Chambers. But first, Breckland Ranch would like to remind you that they want to help you continue our hunting heritage here in Texas by offering your kids a free hunt. Those 12 and under can hunt whitetails or exotics absolutely free. You need to find the details on Breckland's website. Now we're going to go out to northeast Texas and Lake Bob Sandlin, where bass are being caught both shallow and deep. Start your morning with a spinnerbait in white chartreuse or white chartreuse, 1 nickel, 1 gold blade. You can also use your moving soft plastic baits like your Cincos and Bass Assassins in your watermelon, bone shad, or even bubblegum pink colors. Now the deep fish are being caught off the points and structure on the lake on your drop shots and Carolina rigs. 4-inch ribworms or French fries in the same colors mentioned above will catch those deeper fish. And Richland Chambers has been a little off, a little on for the sand bass, but the catfishing has been fantastic. Fishing around timbered areas and timbered points, chum the area about an hour before you intend to fish. Don't use too much, just attract them. Then show up with your prepared catfish baits and get ready for a lot of hot Richland Chambers catfish action. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by the good folks at family-owned, family-operated Breckland Ranch. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. You'll find him on the coast.
Hi folks, Texas Outdoors Journal brings you this week's report, and our October issue is now on sale on newsstands with our comprehensive annual statewide hunting forecast and fall fishing roundup. It is filled with timely pro tips for those heading to inland lakes, the coast, or afield. Pick up a copy of Texas Outdoors Journal on newsstands or subscribe at texasoutdoorsjournal.com or call 713-957-3997. Well, this is the kind of weekend anglers look forward to in the fall. We're influenced by a new moon, favorable tides, and wind from passing cool fronts that may help drop our tides. This combination puts fish in a feeding mood so anglers can throw a variety of artificial or live bait. Topwater lures like Unfair Lures Dog Walker or DOA Lures PT7 are fun, exclusive options. Besides speckled trout and redfish, flounder are moving toward passes and outlets to the Gulf. On light wind days, try sight casting to flatfish, and at night, pull out a light and go gigging. From west and east Matagorda to the south end of West Galveston and Chocolate Bays, plus the lower end of Galveston Bay and Sabine Lake, birds are working over feeding trout and reds. Set up drifts to intercept the activity or use a trolling motor to keep up with the moving action. This weekend, Saturday's a 3-tide day with 2 low tides and just 1 high. This Sunday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday at 5:30, or catch the repeat airing Saturday morning at 8. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button. And see lots of our how-to and product videos by selecting the how-to button. Join our online fishing community. Just click the like button on our Facebook page for access to daily posts with lots of fishing news, videos, and frequent giveaways. And stay up to date with all the latest fishing information and photos by following our Twitter feed. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Luz, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue Bass Baits and Bobby Garland Crappie Baits, the leaders in soft plastic lures innovation. And Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pros segment, where viewers get expert answers from fishing's top anglers. This week's question comes from Monty, who asks, do you have any tips for keeping your lure in the strike zone in big wind? For the answer, we checked with 2015 Bassmaster Classic champion, Casey Ashley.
Obviously, it depends on what you're doing, but I'm a jig fisherman. I throw a jig a lot. Even in windy conditions, you can, especially offshore, where you want to fish with your rod, 9 to 12, that's how you're working your bait. When it's real windy, you need to put it down to the side, because the less line that you have actually out of the water to your rod tip, the less the wind's going to be able to affect it. I try to steer clear of braid in those situations, because braid is like a kite in the wind. So, but even if you are having to use braid, you can still, keep your rod tip a little angled more towards the water, so there's not as much of it for the wind to catch.
Thanks, Casey. If you have something to ask one of our experts, simply visit foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now it's time to give away a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Hey everybody, back at the boat ramp, and I have in my hot little hand the winner in this week's Costa Catch of the Week contest. Somebody wins a free pair of Costa sunglasses. He is Michael Davis of Lancaster, Texas, showing a 10-pound largemouth bass he caught at Joe Pool Lake in Texas. If you'd like to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click in the Costa Catch of the Week box, and yes, you could be our next winner. If you want to see all the Costa frame and lens styles, just go back to our homepage and click on the Costa logo. You'll see all of the 580 polycarbonate and glass lenses, and you'll see all of the frame styles and colors, including the hot one I was wearing on this week's show. It's called Trevally. For our gear segment this week, there are 2 or 3 pieces of equipment that are very critical to catching these crappie out of these brush piles. It begins with the Lowrance Elite TI Fish Finder GPS combo units. They'll do everything you need them to do at an incredibly affordable price. I'll show you a couple of quick shots here of some of these brush piles, but you can see first of all the split screen that I've got there with the regular 2D sonar on the left and the down scan imaging on the right. You can clearly see not only the brush pile, but every branch in it, and on the right side you can even see the dots, which are the individual crappie scattered around the brush. The full screen down scan image gives you an even wider view of the same thing. Another critical piece of gear is your trolling motor. I was using the Motor Guide XI5 pinpoint GPS trolling motor that will lock you on top of a brush pile, or beginning in 2018, the XI3, which will do the exact same thing at an even more affordable price. Most of us would claim we are not racist, but the opposite of racist is a racial advocate. I love this quote by a good buddy of mine, Doc Geiger, who used to be one of our insider reporters here on the show. He says, I believe that every person is an image bearer of God. I commit to treat each and every person the way I want to be treated, regardless of color, culture, or class. I will show respect and honor to all of God's creation. I will use my influence, however and whenever, to stop racism. I will build bridges and I will tear down walls. I will be intentional and vulnerable about celebrating diversity. Each and every one of us can do something to make America a better place to live, and it begins with a conscious choice. Obviously, I loved my first ever trip to Lake Greeson here in Arkansas. I definitely will be back to one of America's great crappie fishing lakes. From Southern Arkansas until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.